वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
Case studies. This is their fiction. And how I arrived at it scientifically, I am giving you my methodology. It is the research of a lifetime I am presenting in my books. I am the only one in the world sharing my techniques with you. You can't ask me to come from India all the way and teach me the mathematical elementary part. No. Ask me to present this. Now this is in my latest book, Predicting Through Vinshottari Dasha, Timing Events through Vinshottari Dasha. There are sometimes very difficult moments I have to face like any other astrologer. There is a prayer in my heart and deep concentration on the horoscope before me. So listen to this story. Sometime in August 1992, doctors in Madhya Pradesh, that is a state in UP, and Delhi had examined the second son of a friend of mine, who in desperation, being very much junior to me in the service from which I had retired, was initially hesitant to consult me. But perhaps his wife insisted that he should do that, and he came one day with the son's horoscope. While I was examining the horoscope, I asked him suddenly where the boy was. Outside in the car was his mother. With his mother was his reply. I felt bad and said they should come in. Did Dr. Charak present it in medical astrology or not? Yes. Right? Yes. I had asked him to present it. I had asked him to present it because as a doctor he is a witness to this case. He was sitting in my house when this happened. Now I will tell you stage by stage what happened. I am not taking the medical angle. Naturally I can't take the medical angle. He was present in my house when the whole thing happened. So I said, Doctor Saab, go and present it medically. I will present it in a different way. Now, outside, the boy was brought in a near unconscious condition and he could neither walk nor sit. What was it? The doctor only said that he had damaged some part of his brain, perhaps once when he had dashed it against the wall of a swimming pool, where he went almost every day. No treatment worked. There was a sense of desperation. The parents did not know how and when all that had occurred, but had only noticed the condition of the boy in August 1992. So the transit of planets on the Sarvastaka should be seen. I will come to that later. First notice this. The static analysis. Now always the approach to any prediction. I am giving you an example of what you mean by counseling. When you say counseling, first of all, see the horoscope and see the static promise. The promise may be good, may be bad. Then the dynamic promise. Then the changing scene. 3 stages, right? Then you advise. The static, the dynamic, the changing scene, then you produce. The static analysis. The Lagna Lord Mercury is with Ketu. Well, the chart is, the boy was born on December 31, 1981 at 11:08 p.m. Indian Standard Time, latitude 13N04, longitude 80E15. Lagna is Kanya Virgo with Mars and Saturn. Second house Tula, Jupiter. Fourth house Dhanu, Sun, Mercury, Ketu. Fifth house retrograde Venus. 6th house Moon, 10th house Rahu. Right? Now, by static analysis, first of all, in the case of a young child, you have always to see the Lagna Lord and the Moon. The importance of the Moon again comes here not merely for the Dasha, but also for what is known as Balarist, right? For the longevity of the child. Now here the Lagna Lord is Mercury with Ketu, exactly on the same degree, and the fourth aspect of Mars falls on this. Am I clear? The Lagna has two malefics, Saturn and Mars, the 6th and the 8th Lord for the purposes of this case study. Saturn is the 6th Lord, Mars is the 8th Lord, Mars is also the 3rd Lord, Saturn is also the 5th Lord. But for the purposes of this case study, I am taking only a 6th and 8th Lordship of Saturn, right? The Dasha sequence, Rahu Jupiter was over on January 7, 1987. Jupiter Mercury from September 7, 1991 to December 13, 1994. Mercury is the Lagna Lord affecting the body of the child. So therefore here I have to go into the third level, the sub periods. Jupiter Mercury will be up to 2nd January 92, Ketu 19 February 92, Venus July 6 92, Sun August 17 92, Mars December 12 92, Rahu 15th April 93. In this horoscope, Rahu is receiving the aspect of Jupiter. In Kendra, and of course Sun, Mercury, etc. The sub period of Mercury is the Lagna Lord, which is why trouble to the body which occurred in this period is serious. The moon of the child is ill placed in the 6th house. The moment a child is born, examine the Lagna and always the moon. Remember this principle. Always the moon. The only benefic in Kendra is Mercury, which is so heavily afflicted. See the hopelessness of the situation now. The Dasha analysis. The Dasha of Jupiter, who is in the 2nd house and is also the 2nd Lord from the moon, but has no affliction either in the birth chart or in the Navansha. The sub period of Mercury, which is heavily afflicted, is also the 8th Lord from the moon. Now the method of analyzing Dasha is to analyze from the Lagna and also from the moon. That is a technique always to be made use of from the Lagna and also from the moon. The sub periods are successively bad. I told you the progressive picture has to be seen. The static promise, the dynamic one, and now the changing picture. You get my point? So sub periods following are successively bad. Sun, the 12th lord, is heavily afflicted, and the moon in the 6th house is badly placed. Mars as the 3rd and the 8th lord is a malefic for Virgo Lagna. Rahu in the 10th house, aspected by two benefics, Mercury and Jupiter, offers some hope of recovery in its sub period. So my attention is riveted on Rahu. Rahu the savior in a Kendra, right? Aspected by Jupiter. Then will come the sub period of Jupiter, who can offer the best relief because he is aspecting the moon of the child. Right? The child's moon has to be saved. Transits. The most significant factor is the beginning of Sade Sati of the child with the Saturn in the weakest house. Ronnie, I am answering every question of yours.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Appreciate say a little more loudly, please.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You were having a lot of impatience. I said no. I will proceed according to my style, not according to your dictation. Now see, look at Saturn. What a hopelessly weak position it is. Just now you have seen what? King Farouk's. What a tragedy it was. The Sade Sati beginning, and the man is asked to go out. Why I chose this is identical pattern I am showing you. The boy is brought back, he is lying there in my room, and I am looking at the horoscope. I am shivering. Imagine that moment when you have to give a prediction. It is easy for me when I am presenting the case for you here. Saturn is here. I given the transit position. Equally bad was the Saturn in Capricorn in the Bhinnastaka of Mars. That is the question one of you had asked me today, this morning. I said, have patience, I will come to that. You see? Saturn is not merely weakest here. Now I am making use of the Bhinnastaka. Yes?
Understanding why the Bhinnastaka of Mars.
Okay. Generally, that is why I said if you do the manual exercise, it will catch at once. The least number of benefic points, only two planets have in Sarvastaka, Saturn and Mars. Right? Saturn and Mars have only 39. Both are known malefics. And the weak are the blank houses in their Bhinnastakas are the periods to be watched when particularly Saturn or Jupiter pass through them. In Scorpio of Rajiv Gandhi, in the Mars Bhinnastaka something there is 0. Rajiv Gandhi is the Indian Prime Minister who became Prime Minister. So when Saturn was in Scorpio, he ran into all types of political troubles, leading to his fall and after that he could not come back and he was killed.
That was when Saturn was transiting houses from 0
Scorpio 01 in Mars. So here I am seeing this absolutely gloomy picture. Dasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, Sadhe Sati, Saturn and Saturn in the Bhinnastaka of Mars. Gloom upon gloom upon gloom upon gloom.
I don't understand. You're not departing from Mars when it says 0 points.
Third and the eighth lord also for this Lagna.
These 0 points relate specifically to Mars.
Pardon?
These 0 points relate to Mars being there.
Not necessary. A blank house and Saturn and Jupiter, Jiva and time. Particularly watch Saturn and Jupiter slow moving planets. Other planets will pass fast and there can be an accident. Please watch the transits of Saturn and Jupiter even in Bhinnastaka. They stay for 1 year. Then you can locate even the day by taking other planets. If you work out the Prastharaka and find out which Prastharaka is proving difficult. The first stage is Prastharaka, which I can't show here. Anyway, now coming to always have hope. Balancing factor in astrology, how it comes in. It is the night birth of the bright lunar half, Shukla Paksha. In giving predictions, many astrologers miss these superfine, subtle points of Vedic astrology. Night birth. The moon must therefore protect the child like the goddess, mother, as the astrological classics emphasize. The moon, well aspected by Jupiter, was another good point. Some astrological classics state that if in a night birth there are malefics in Lagna, they too offer protection. The most important point is that Jupiter is aspecting the moon of the child. Prayers must be offered. Please remember, when you say counseling, when you see Jupiter coming into play, find out whether the man believes in God and religion. If he does, tell him pray properly now. Jupiter will demand his price. Jupiter will never allow you to get anything free. Jupiter does not demand dollars. He wants prayers. Right? So when I see this, Jupiter is Lord Shiva, Lord Triambaka of great Mrityunjaya mantra. Om Triambakam Yajamahe. You know that. Pardon? Pardon? Jupiter's Brihat Parashar always prescribes in Jupiter worship of Lord Shiva. I made them recite Mrityunjaya mantra with me and asked them to do so regularly and assured them that in April 1993 the child would become normal. Why? After Saturn transited into Aquarius in March 1993, the child started improving. In April 1993, he became normal in the sub period of Jupiter, in the major period of Jupiter, and the sub period of Mercury. Now go back. This is the story of a colleague of mine. Now go back to this. What is the meaning of interpreting transits? So long as Saturn was here, watch. Right? You have seen in the case of King Farooq, 52 he ran away. In the case of the boy I am seeing, he has been brought to me in a condition when no doctor is able to tell what is happening. You see the hopelessness of the situation, but I just look at that moon and I see the changing of the Pratyanta Dasha. Then I see the Saturn is going to move into a stronger house, and Saturn is going to leave Capricorn and leave the child alive. And the beauty of it was 15 days before my coming to USA, the father came with his wife and children. I was looking at the boy about 1 month ago. So then Dr. Charak asked me, I said, you present it in your this thing. I don't know they presented in your class study.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. I have one question. You talked about the moon being the queen protector in the 8th house.
In the 6th, 8th,
Six also.
a badly placed moon. Yes. Now counseling. What is the meaning of counseling? I will come back to those horoscopes of world dignitaries, but before that, yes.
Just a quick question. How do you distinguish the case between the child will get better or the case of if the child lives to this point, then he'll get better? Like, how do you know that he'll get through that rough spot?
That is why I use many techniques including Gemini. I never, that is why what I call this 1 hour guillotine in USA hits me badly. It has become a popular expression now. You say 1 hour you give me all the reading. I said, what do you want? You want to understand something specifically? In Delhi sometimes I devote 5 hours to one horoscope. First time I take maximum time, second time it becomes easy. Second time in 5 minutes I can dispose of. Now, this is case of counseling now, given again in this book. Let me repeat, because here I have given you 3 memory tablets. CBI means complete background information. A person must have complete background information. Either you come and tell me you are such and such, this is your correct horoscope, or I write out myself and verify your horoscope. So I will skip over this. This young man had come to me from Delhi University for the first time in 1988. When he had heard from someone that my Jyotish could help him get some useful counseling for a career. Reading my articles on Jyotisha, particularly the case studies of successful predictions which I discussed, many young men this is, I think, one of the most brilliant case studies from the point of view of Ashtakvarga and the changing Dasha scene. Rarely you will come across a case like this, let me tell you. Very rarely you will come across the drama, the twist of the whole situation. And for a puritanical Indian society, you cannot, from your American point of view, visualize this situation unless you know what a puritanical society is. Now this man comes to me, who sought my help were those whose belief in astrological guidance for career guidance, career shaping, career decisions seemed appealing to me. Some people can be very cynical. He said, I have heard you do like this. You come to Delhi, I will show you in my, every week I get at least 15 people from JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, which was the citadel of communism. They denounced astrology. I had to go and deliver a speech there once. And after that, those boys come there for a similar purpose. Anyway, illustration 10. Rahu period began August 10, 1963 to August 10, 1981. Then the Jupiter subperiods: Jupiter Jupiter, Jupiter Saturn, Jupiter Mercury, Jupiter Ketu, Jupiter Venus. He came to me in moods of desperation to ask for success in the All India competitive exam. He was born with a balance of Mars of 1 year, 4 months and 17 days, which was over on August 10, 63. Rahu over such and such, Jupiter over such and such. I'll skip over that part that you can read later because my subject is Ashtakvarga here. Now, what you want? Guidance. I'm stage by stage guiding the boy. Combination of Mars in journalism also. He confirmed it. The presence of Mercury in the house of Jupiter in the Navansha aspected by the Sun from the house of Mercury again shows his flair for writing. Jupiter aspects his own house in the Navansha where Mercury is present. I'll skip over that. Jupiter Saturn period. Now this is the romantic period of his life. The sub period of Saturn could have been one of frustration because Saturn is with Ketu, is placed in the 12th from Jupiter, the major Dasha Lord. The Jupiter Saturn period lasted up to April 10, 1986. Born in 1962, he must have got 1 or 2 chances to appear for some competitive exam and may have even got enrolled for PhD because Saturn being the 5th lord and Jupiter being in the 5th house, his education would continue somehow. He confirmed it. Had he competed in some examination and not succeeded was my next question. He confirmed it. Did he also take up some job during this period? Because Saturn here aspected the 10th house and also the 10th lord and the moon is in the Lagna. That is how you verify the correctness of a horoscope first. His answer was, it was exactly so. Now came my most crucial question. Was he distracted during this time he was competing because of a girl not belonging to his caste or community? Why did I ask that question? Give me an astrological reason for asking that question.
Mars in the 5th in the house of love affair.
Very good. Second, and the 5th lord Saturn with Ketu. Right? That is the deviation. Clear? And it is happening in Jupiter Saturn period. So I said, well, this question surprised him. My logic was based on 2 factors. First, the presence of the 7th lord Mars in the 5th house is such an attraction. To confirm it, there was the 5th lord Saturn with Ketu, the planet of deviation from the accepted norms of society or family he belonged to. Then comes the period of Jupiter Mercury. A general principle in astrology which you can make use of is Jupiter Mercury periods are periods of intellectuality. Whatever the Lagna. Both planets favor intellectual achievements. what was awaiting him now in the period of Jupiter Mercury, which should be over on July 16, 1988. My answers were 3. You will make a very good career in any case before February 1992. To succeed now in Jupiter Mercury, he would have to work much harder. But his attraction for the girl he was in love with would have to wait. I knew that he would find it difficult because Mercury in the 5th house would prolong his infatuation with the girl. He appeared for the last chance available to him and again failed. In the competitive exam, 3 or 4 chances are given, he failed again. He was desperate. Since he could write well, he became a journalist, earned some money, and avoided meeting me for some months. Then one day he came to me while the sub period was still continuing and said that he was absolutely frustrated. Had he got closer to the girl he loved and not succeeded in making a career yet, was my question. Precisely so, he said. Notice here that Jupiter and Mercury are together in the 5th house with the 7th lord Mars, the lover. The Dasha and Antardasha lords are associated with the 7th lord. I read a sermon to him, etc. Now apply mind to the question. Getting attracted to a girl and expressing it in a physical way was neither a sin nor unnatural. Well, I'll skip over that preaching. The importance of the sub period of Venus. Then I'll come back to the Ashtakvarga. Notice the position of Venus in the horoscope. He is the Lagna Lord and exalted. Now the principle of Brihat Jatak about which Chirumule spoke today. Varami is Brihat Jatak. 3 principles of Dasha interpretation given there always work well. Notice, now remember these 3 principles. The major and the sub periods of the Lagna or the 10th lord, like the periods of exalted planets, are favorable. Whatever the Lagna. Lagna lord, 10th lord, exalted planet. So Venus in the 6th house. For Tula Lagna, exalted, Jupiter Venus period coming. All chances of competitive exam over. You see, he is beyond age now, crossed that age, and the best period has not come yet. Case of sheer frustration. But I said no, the frustration. It was the major period of Jupiter, the 6th lord of competition, and being in the 5th house in a competitive exam which involved writing. The sub period of exalted Mars in the 6th house again strengthens such a resolve. Now notice that this Venus is in the 8th house in the Dashansha, indicating a sudden opening. This is the only book in which I am using birth horoscope, Avansha, Dreshkon, Chaturthansha, Saptansha, Dashamansha, Dwadashansha, Vinshansha, the first book ever in the world in which I am showing you, along with this, how also to use the Ashtakvarga, Bhinnastakvarga and the 3 levels of Vinshutri Dasha. Many people in USA ask me, how do you use the divisional charts? So I said I will give you practical case studies. So anyway, now you can see that I have to come back to Ashtakvarga. In the Navansha, Venus is in the third house, etc. I'll skip over. He had exhausted all his chances for the All India competitive exam. But in 1989, the government of India decided suddenly to give an extra chance by raising the age of eligibility for the competitive exam to 28 years. Now see the luck. Exalted Venus there has to perform its duty. He came running to me and asked for my advice. I told him that it was either now or never. He had to do his very best, as he would never get a chance like this to achieve success now. Then one day he came with his girlfriend, a very well educated girl of a different caste. I told them that astrologically they were already married. They didn't tell me. They said that they were, but the father of the girl did not allow him to enter his house. Another time when both of them came, I could see that the woman was pregnant. They were married in the early part of 90. A male child was born to them in the early part of 91. He made a very good career in 91. It is a love story with a happy ending. Now how do you arrive at it? Go back to the Ashtakvarga. अरे क्या हुआ? I'm sorry, there's a mix up here. Anyway, I'll read out from the book, you'll understand. No, here it is. Yes. Now, the use of Ashtakvarga, how it comes into play. I am seeing the Dasha improving all right. Right? Now, I want to see what are the future transits. When the boy came to me, he was frustrated. Saturn was moving slowly. Future transits. When he came to me after losing all the chances, Saturn was in Scorpio. Not bad. But the future appeared much brighter. Marginally, the 11th house is one more than the 10th house. That's all. But Saturn, the fifth lord of this horoscope, would improve in transit in future. I said, now do your very best. You see, the dasha is improving. He is getting the sub-period of a exalted planet in the 6th house, Tula Lagna, and I have given you the principle of Vara Mihira. The dasha periods of the Lagna Lord, the 10th Lord and exalted planets are good periods. Right? Venus period is coming. Suddenly, Indian Prime Minister changes, a new man comes, VP Singh, and he gives an extra chance for All India competitive examination. And the man out of the blue suddenly got a chance, came running to me. I said, it is now or never for you. And finally I clinch it by looking at the future transit of Saturn moving towards Dhanu, Sagittarius. That is counseling. If you don't do your best now, you are doomed and you are going to achieve. He got selected for the Indian Police Service and has been allotted to the state of Madras. So from So when you are doing counseling, remember, future transits you must take into account before counseling. That was all the purpose of my showing you this. Now we will go back to our theme of royalty. First, remember this. You got it before you. This. We are making the same analysis again. What we had done in the case of King Farooq. Where is Jupiter? And where is the Sun? Correct? In the Navansha, where is Jupiter? And where is the Moon? You see? In the Sarvastaka, you find 31, so many things. And the man had the richest collection of jewelry in the world. Jewels. Then India became free. He wanted to opt for Pakistan, remaining in a South Indian state. He wanted to merge with Pakistan, remaining in South India with Pakistan border thousands of miles away. How could he have merged? King Farooq and Nizam were the richest men of their times. Nizam's treasure of gold was unparalleled in the world. Let us examine our parameters applicable to the birth chart and Navansha. The fourth house is being aspected by Jupiter, and the fourth lord Saturn is beautifully placed in the ninth house. In the Sarvastaka, the fourth house contains the maximum 35, and the fourth lord commands 30 in the ninth house. The sun is aspected by Jupiter, and the moon also receives the aspect of Jupiter due to its retrogression. Jupiter aspecting the sun and the moon also in the Navansha is an additional boost. The presence of several Raj Yogas and Dhan Yogas made him what he was during the major period of Mars and Rahu, both being in the 11th house of gains. Please note that Mars is also the second lord of accumulation of wealth, which is aspected by Venus, the 8th lord of hidden treasures, and Saturn, the Yoga Karaka planet for Libra ascendant. But we will concentrate only on the events that overtook him after 1946, when his major period of the 6th lord Jupiter having gone to the 12th house, and the 12th lord Mercury having gone to the 6th house started operating. Exchange between 6th and the 12th, right?